Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, and it is going to be sort of an open forum Tuesday here. Not really much new to talk about other than Mike Sullivan, his destination of where he might go after departing as Pittsburgh Penguins head coach, being revealed by an NHL insider. The Pittsburgh Steelers officially got word of the compensation picks that they will be receiving in the 2026 draft and how they might be using them. Also, a former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver is back in the AFC North. We'll get down to that and, of course, recap the signing that the Steelers did last night. First things first, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, feel free to like and share this stream and comment in the live chat. I enjoy reacting and reading your comments. I can put them up on the screen here and we can start a conversation that way. Always enjoy that. First things first here, we are going to get started today with some news of where the Pittsburgh Steelers are heading into the 2026 draft. So today we got word from this from Aussie NFL on Twitter. The compensatory picks that have been rewarded to teams heading into the 2026 draft, which of course is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania next year. And how about this? Your Pittsburgh Steelers currently, because compensatory picks have not been handed out to teams yet for coaching changes and other stuff like that. Your Pittsburgh Steelers are in the lead with 4 compensatory picks, the only team with the maximum 4 compensatory picks for the 2026 draft. Currently, a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th round pick are what the Steelers are in possession of. Of course, those are not the final spots of where those picks will be. Of course, depending on how certain players play on their new teams, like Dan Moore Jr., Justin Fields, or Russell Wilson, depending on how they do and how many snaps they play, those picks could always get bumped up to a higher value. So that's how we're starting off today. A 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th, and a 6th round pick to your Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, how will they use them? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is how I think the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into this year's draft, what they were banking on. You didn't see them take a quarterback high like Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart or even Jalen Milroe in the 2nd round. You saw them sort of go with the flow, take the best player available, best player at a position of need, and they waited to the 6th round, and I think got a pretty good value pick on Will Howard from Ohio State. He could pan out to be the guy. Who knows? Time will tell, and how much opportunity he got. But seeing those 4 picks right there, that tells me that the Steelers, they are looking to, in their own city, draft their quarterback of the future in the 1st round. You got 4 compensatory picks right there. That means that you can maybe expend those compensatory picks or use your own to trade up into the 1st round and get a quarterback that you like. Time will tell. I'm interested to see what your guys' thoughts are to that plan. I believe Omar Khan and Andy Weidel, they have been sort of doing that, going about this offseason with that in mind, not overdrafting a quarterback again and building up every single other position on the roster, sort of building the nest for the baby bird that will be a hopeful franchise QB next year. He can come into a great situation. We'll see how things play out this year. You're most likely going to see Aaron Rodgers be the starter once he signs, or you will get to see Mason Rudolph. I hope they give a little bit of runway for Will Howard, maybe see what he has, see if you can really capitalize on getting him in the 6th round, but who knows? As of right now, this is from Dalton Wasserman from PFF. Right now, what the Steelers would look like possibly taking quarterbacks next year. He released his very early 2026 PFF mock draft, and right out of the gate here, Arch Manning, quarterback from Texas, goes number 2 to the Cleveland Browns. He has the Steelers picking number 14th. So quarterbacks going in the 1st round next year as we stand here just a couple of days removed from the 2025 NFL draft. He has Arch Manning Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State, and then all the way down at 14, he has the Steelers taking Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, another quarterback also in this first round. Going to the Los Angeles Rams at number 26 is Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina. So decent crop of quarterback prospects coming up here in 2026. Interested to see what you guys are thinking about possibly moving up and getting a QB next year with those compensatory picks in hand. I think, you're not going to have those picks stay where they are. I think that Justin Fields is going to hit his quota to bump his compensation pick up to a third or a fourth round. Maybe not so much with Russell Wilson. You're going to have Wilson, Winston, and Jackson Dart fighting it out there. Dan Moore Jr., he could see his pick get bumped up. I think he's the third, actually, so he can't get bumped up anymore. But still interested to see what you guys think about the Steelers possibly getting these compensation picks. I think that plan of Omar Khan and Andy Weidel has been completed. They did an overdraft a quarterback, and now they can target a high-prize quarterback in 2026 while having some other positions on the team solidified, which I think is what they did a good job of this year. 7 of you in here right now. Feel free to comment in the live chat. This is going to be more of an open forum Tuesday here. Bit of a slow day for Pittsburgh sports news. Going to get to some more here in a moment, including this, who I'm sure all of you have seen right now. A former Steelers wide receiver is back in the AFC North, and that is Deontay Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Johnson was in Cleveland yesterday afternoon, and after meeting with the Cleveland Browns, he has signed a 1-year contract with the Brownies. So now he has completed, now he will be with 3 of the 4 AFC North teams in his career. Bounced around a bunch last year, couldn't stay in one place with us, the Panthers, and then the Ravens, got cut from the Ravens, then went to Houston, didn't even play a single snap there, I don't believe. So Deontay Johnson back in the AFC North, and you could really hear all the bones and timbers shivering in Steelers fans across Western Pennsylvania. Like, we're going to be worried about backwards running Deontay Johnson. But hey, Steelers, they weren't the only AFC North team to add a wide receiver, or the Browns weren't the only AFC North team to add a wide receiver yesterday. The Steelers, they brought in former Texans and Rams wide receiver Robert Woods on a 1-year, $2 million contract. I see people on Twitter freaking out about it like, oh, this is why this organization is where it is. This is why we haven't been taken seriously in the past half decade. This is why we're losing in the first round of the playoffs. Chill. Everybody chill out. Like, are we really giving up that big of a threat over a guy who's clearly going to be our 5th wide receiver on our depth chart? Like, oh, he's a Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson from the past 2 years type of signing. Yeah, he's similar to them in that he's coming over from the Rams. Steelers seem to love their veteran, older, past their prime Rams wide receivers. But unlike Allen Robinson and unlike Van Jefferson, he's not coming here to be your number 2 or number 3 wide receiver. You already filled that need. You got DK Metcalf and George Pickens, one of the most lethal 1-2 punches at wide receiver in the NFL. Behind him, you got a vastly improved Calvin Austin from last season. He really showed his worth on the field. I remember watching that, the game against the New York Giants, and in which he went off. And also you got Roman Wilson, a pretty much rookie that you drafted in the first round 2 years ago. You're going to, I'm sure, have him above Robert Woods in the, depth chart. So Woods here, he's 6 foot, 33-year-old tight end. He blocks his ass off, which, I'm sure Metcalf and Pickens do that well when they want to, but I'm not sure you want as your, secondary line of blockers out there on the field being Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson, who are, I think Wilson's 5'10 and Austin's like 5'8. So you got, another 6 foot wide receiver who blocks his ass off in there. He's going to help in the running game. That's pretty much all he's there for. He caught 20 passes last year for 203 yards. So it's all just, take a deep breath here. He isn't going to be in here to, take out snap Metcalf and Pickens. Just Robert Woods is here. to be a running game, specialist, blocking in the run, might catch a pass here and there. And also he can be that veteran presence on the sideline, maybe to reel in George Pickens, just like how you had Van Jefferson and Allen Robinson years past. So, let's not get, let's not get into too much of a fret about that here. And also these signings yesterday, the Woods and the Johnson signing, that's no surprise. You're probably going to see a handful of other signings coming up here in the coming days just from other teams around the NFL, because it was yesterday at 4 p.m. the compensatory pick, rule sort of expired at 4 p.m. So teams from here on out, no matter who you sign, will not get a compensatory pick beyond that. Also, another thing about Deontay Johnson, how hilarious is it that he's going to be tied to Kenny Pickett for most of his career? Just the Browns, keep doing what you're doing, Brownies. You are building one hell of a team. It's most likely going to blow up in their faces, but I mean, it is just comedy right now seeing what they do. I'm gonna move on here. There's actually some other signings that the Steelers made. Well, not signings, but rookie camp is going to begin here before we know it. And the Steelers got some more invitations accepted. Hollis Mathis from the University of William and Mary football program, he invited the mini camp invite to the Steelers. Also, a Mount Lebanon quarterback, Seth Morgan, who was with Division II Shepherd and then VMI. He has been invited as a quarterback to rookie mini camp. And also, how about this? There's actually two more here. Guard, formerly of Thomas Jefferson near Pittsburgh, guard from a center from Central Michigan, Dom Serapagili. He will be invited to rookie camp. Honestly, I give him, quite a shot to maybe get an invite to Latrobe, because you have just Zach Frazier and Ryan McCullum as your only two bona fide centers on the roster right now. I'm actually shocked that the Steelers haven't spent any more money on a true better backup center like Ryan McCullum. I mean, I like McCullum as a backup center, just I would like a third center there for depth and for preseason purposes. Maybe that is Sarah Pagili. And the last one here, the safety, Eddie Faulkner IV from Slippery Rock University, has been invited to minicamp. Of course, that last name, Faulkner, might sound a bit familiar to some Steelers fans. Of course, Eddie Faulkner, the Steelers running back coach. So his boy will now be coming to Steelers rookie camp. He might be able to coach up his son a little bit, maybe schmooze his way to get him an invite to Latrobe, but who knows? A son of a coach who will not be getting invited to Steelers rookie camp, that will be Dino Tomlin. Dino, Coach T's son, he has accepted a rookie minicamp invite with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that was per Ashley Leotis. So Dino Tomlin, I think a lot of Steelers fans out there were like, oh, don't worry, Dino Tomlin, he's going to be there because, Tomlin, they love their nepotism picks. Look, they got Carson Bruner. They've had Joey Porter Jr. and all of that. No, that will not be the case. Dino Tomlin will be heading to Tampa Bay to take part in the Buccaneers rookie camp, so no need to worry about that. 11 of you in here now. Holy moly. Y'all coming in here on a free forum Tuesday here. If you have any questions or concerns about current state of Steelers football, any of the Pittsburgh sports teams in general, feel free to get them in the comment section. I'm going to make this a bit of a shorter stream here tonight. That is because if you live in Western Pennsylvania like I am, you can hop on your radar right now and you can see that storms are rolling in. So I don't want to take chances about power getting knocked out on me here or losing internet connection. So it's going to be a bit of a quicker stream here. TC Steels in the comment checks, and let's go Steelers. Absolutely. Wondering, of course, I asked this on yesterday's stream. If you guys have a letter grade that you want to give the Steelers draft class of 2025, get those in the chats. I give them an A-. I think that they solidified the defensive line with two good defensive tackles in Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black. Got a great value pick on the two Ohio State national champions in Sawyer and Howard. I think those guys can be long-term contributors for the Steelers in the future. Also, Caleb Johnson was one of my favorite running backs for the Steelers in my draft class. If you weren't with me over the past couple of days during the draft, I was live during the draft and I had my rankings popped up here on the screen. I had Caleb Johnson as my number 5 running back overall, but in terms of scheme fit for the Steelers, he was up near the top. TC Steelers A+ for value and what they needed. Yeah, they really got it under wraps right there. Also, would it be a Steelers pick without the alumni pick? So Carson Bruner, he could be a special teams contributor. I like that. Dante Kent, he's a speedy special teams corner. And also I like their a couple of their post-draft undrafted free agent signings in Rock Taylor and Sebastian Castro. What do you think of the Robert Woods pickup? I think I like it. Too many people are freaking out about it, in my opinion. I just went over it, in the Deontay Johnson segment. I think too many people, I see on Twitter, oh, why they sign that guy? He's washed, 33 years old. We keep getting these old washed-up Rams wide receivers. Guys, chill out. He's a blocking wide receiver, most likely going to be in there on blocking downs, just like your Darnell Washingtons and just like Ben Skoranek in that last year. Ben Skoranek might actually make the team. I think he'll be a good locker room guy to keep an eye on. George Pickens, he only make a couple of catches for you. It's not like he's going to come in here and be your wide receiver too. You settled that with DK Metcalf. At least as it stands right now, he's probably going to be your 5th or 6th wide receiver in a battle with Scotty Miller and Ben Skoranek and probably Rock Taylor, who I just mentioned as an undrafted free agent signing I like. You got DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin as your top 4 wide receivers. Let's not, lose our minds over a bottom of the depth chart wide receiver here, which is a good locker room presence for Pickens and Metcalf. Exactly. And people are going crazy. Taking the words right out of my mouth there, TC Steels. I agree. Like this franchise, I love that, our fan base, Steelers Nation, compared to some other fan bases in the NFL, have a great high IQ when it comes to watching and understanding football, but they're also, we are also Steelers fans, very overreactive to the littlest of things, and this is one of them, flipping out about Robert Woods. So let's just take it down a notch. Like I said, I'm going to move fast. I appreciate you, TC Steels, commenting in the live chat. Like I said, I'm going to move fast here, and then I will answer more questions here as we get along. Real quick, let me hit on some Penguins news. Of course, the big news yesterday. I wanted to come on here on a Monday and just talk strictly NFL draft with you fine folks. But then, of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they stole the spotlight, and they mutually agreed to part ways with head coach Mike Sullivan. Kyle Dubas had a press conference later in the day saying, plug your ears if you are Tomlin defenders. If you're a Steelers fan and you're a Tomlin defender, just sort of ignore me saying this. Kyle Dubas, Penguins GM, said a good coach could go elsewhere and continue to be great, but also it could be time for a change here. I agree with that. It was just, love Sully, love all that he did here in the city of Pittsburgh, all the championships that he brought here, but it was time to move on. Where he will move on to, that is a different question now. Elliot Friedman, he was on NHL Network today, and he had one interesting quote while on there talking about Sullivan's departure, saying, I cannot imagine that the New York Rangers will allow anyone to outdo themselves in the pursuit of Sullivan. So, this whole time we said if Mike Sullivan was going to get let go of, which we didn't think was really that much of a possibility, that his top option and most likely landing spot would be the New York Rangers. Elliot Friedman, the best NHL insider that there is out there. He is your Ian Rappaport, your Adam Schefter of in terms of football terms for hockey. He's your Jet Passan in baseball terms for the NHL. So Elliot Friedman, he's always tied in with these teams. It's just going to be a matter of time before the Rangers and Sullivan agreed to terms, in my opinion. other spots like the Seattle Kraken and Boston Bruins are also out there. But the Rangers, I think, they could see Sullivan as a, game changer and a coach that could get them over the hump, back into playoffs, not just back into the playoffs, but also win the big one. So the Rangers, they might actually hire Sullivan before the Penguins find their next head coach, which they say they will probably be waiting for up until June. But a new, I guess, we think my lights just flickered there. I apologize, folks. Getting a little distracted here. The storms are rolling in here. I'm gonna keep this thing moving along here. But a new coach candidate for the Pittsburgh Penguins is now officially available, and some Penguins fans, they are going to love hearing this. Friedman, who I was just talking about, who was saying Sullivan to the Rangers will eventually get done. He was posting today. This was at 3:30. Word is that Rick Tocchet will not be returning as head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. So, as expected, former Penguins player and assistant coach under Mike Sullivan, who has been head coach in a couple of other parts around the league, he will be available for the Penguins to maybe take a look at. I doubt it, though. Kyle Dubas said that the Penguins are going to be searching far and wide in this coaching search, and that they are most likely not to hire a retread like Tocchet, Peter Laviolette, John Tortorella, Joel Quenneville, stuff like that. You're probably going to hear about some of lesser names. Dubas mentioned, they're going to look to Europe and to the college ranks for a new head coach, somebody who can come in and grow with this young crop of talent that is coming up from the minor leagues with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Two top candidates, in my opinion, David Carl. He is head coach for the University of Denver hockey team. They've had some success, won a Frozen Four or two, and also, I believe, Jade Pandolfo, who is the head coach of Boston University. So the Penguins, they might be shipping out one Boston University prospect or product in Mike Sullivan and bringing in another one in Jay Pandolfo. Interested to see what you guys think about that. If you are savvy in the NHL world like I am, who do you think the Penguins should look at to be their new head coach? Excited to get your thoughts in on that. Real quick, going to shift back to football real quick before I hit on some Pittsburgh Pirates news. TC Steelers, we have splash players, but QB is still up in the air. I mean, I'm high on Will Howard, honestly. We do have the splash players. Just think about, the size of the weapons you're throwing to if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Metcalf, Pickens, and Freiermuth. And if, Arthur Smith, he loves to run two tight end sets. Your second tight end out there going to be Darnell Washington. I absolutely love the idea of throwing to those massive targets, and they're going to be mismatched, on 5'10", 5'11" corners for half the time. So, excuse me here. Hi. Can I help you? You push my door open? Hi, everybody. This is my one of my dogs here, Chase, and he's going to go out that way. Hang on. Hi, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right. Hi. All right. I know you opened up my door. You gotta go. I'll be out in a minute. Okay? Chill out. Sorry about that. My door can't shut the whole way at the moment. So one of my dogs decided to barge right in and say hi. That was Chase, one of my 3 dogs. But anyways, back to your question here. Yeah, you got the talent. It's just a matter, I think, of the offensive line developing more. Other than Isaac Seumalo, you got one third-year guy and some second-year guys, really a first-year guy if you look at Troy Fautanu, who's going to be healthy for once. So, yeah, interested to see how that plays out. I love the Will Howard pick. I do, too. And all of my feed has been on Twitter and Instagram has been just Will Howard highlights. If you haven't seen it already, I started it. I got to go finish it. The Will Howard QB class with John Gruden, that through Barstool Sports. I like that. I'm going to go watch some recordings of the Hey Rookie, Welcome to the NFL. If you haven't seen Will Howard, if you haven't seen a clip, it's gone viral of him waiting there to get picked, and he said, "Please pick me, Pittsburgh," and breaks down in tears when he says, "You're ready to be a Steeler." He hears Omar Khan say that on the other line. So Will Howard, I hope he gets his fair shot. He doesn't get a rough go of it, kind of like what Mason Rudolph got here his first time around. Waiting and waiting and waiting for a chance that never fully came. So I'd give Will Howard a chance. I think he's a perfect fit for the Arthur Smith system. It's just a matter of how much of that talent and momentum that he built up this past year in how much of that momentum he built up with the Ohio State Buckeyes last year in that national championship run. How much of that is he going to carry into the Pittsburgh Steelers? But yes, definitely love the Will Howard pick. I think they got the talent around him for him maybe to show something. He's been saying in all the videos I've seen, I've been overlooked my whole life, and I will prove you all wrong. Real quick, just going to hit on some other things real quick. I'm looking out my window that is right above my computer here, and the wind is ripping, and the skies are getting darker. So real quick, just going to finish up on some other things. I was going to talk about Pirates and Cubs. They're set to begin a new series here tonight, but honestly, that may not be the case. There is a tarp down, and the wind is howling, just like it is here in Pittsburgh. So that game is going to start in a delay, and may end up not happening here tonight. There is some news, however. The Bucs, they're going to be without one of their best relievers for a handful of days here. Right-handed relief pitcher Dennis Santana was placed on the bereavement list effective April 28th. So Santana will go mourn the loss of a close one. Right-handed relief pitcher Hunter Stratton was recalled from AAA Indianapolis in the meantime to fill in for Santana. Also, some more reinforcements for the bullpen may be coming sooner rather than later. Right-handed pitcher Dari Moreta, who we have not seen in over a year, had Tommy John surgery back in 2023. He is beginning a rehab assignment tonight down in Bradenton, Florida at Pirate City. So hopefully we will get to see Moreta back here. Hopefully, maybe we get to see some Bucs and Cubs tonight if this, storm doesn't hit too hard. But we'll be interested in watching that. Andrew Heaney will be on the mound against Shota Imanaga if that game does get going. O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCutchen, Joey Bart, Key Brian Hayes, Matt Gorski, Tommy Pham, Jared Triolo, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is your lineup for the Bucs if that game does indeed happen. And yep, here comes the rain. So I'm going to wrap this up quick here. Just some loose hitting notes here on my screen here. Some loose hitting notes here for what is going on in the Pittsburgh sports world. The NFL draft coming to Pittsburgh, like I said earlier, next year. This year's draft in Green Bay was the second most watched NFL draft in history, a 7.5 million average viewer count across ESPN, ABC, NFL Network, and any and other all streaming platforms. So also more than 600,000